All right, guys. So this right here came across my radar, and it is wild. So Destiny calls J.D. Vance, the vice president, an absolute pussy bitch. And he shows this portion of an article. Salisbury wrote that Vice President J.D. Vance wanted to pursue criminal cases against two Florida influencers who were, quote, preaching violence on social media. The messages did not specify the identities of the pair and said prosecutors had declined one of the cases. In other words, the Vice President of the United States is trying to get Destiny for sure, because he lives in Florida, and also one other influencer who I don't know the other one is, who they're referring to here. Post in the comment section below if you know who they're talking about. But basically, the Vice President of the U.S. wants Destiny to be prosecuted over speech because he trolled MAGA. All right, so I'm going to break this down further for you. Destiny is showing that this article here is where that came from, the Minnesota Star Tribune. Trump officials discuss sending elite Army division to Portland, text messages show. So, yeah, I believe the 82nd Airborne, I believe, is what they were talking. So this, like, elite strike force that was used in, like, Iraq and Afghanistan, they were considered sending them to Portland. By the way, that all started, there were 20 protesters out in front of the ICE office, and that's when Trump said, it's a war zone. We got to send the military, send the National Guard. We got to do it. So, and the judge who ruled against Trump on that basically, like, mocked him and was like, you can't just say something's a war zone when it's objectively, empirically not that. Openly talking about having a liberal influencer, YouTuber arrested over speech. This is crazy. So, I don't know. I was trying to figure out exactly what thing he's trying to get him arrested over. The first thing that popped to my mind was, remember when there was the assassination attempt on Trump, and then there was like a fireman or something behind Trump who got killed in that, and basically Destiny was like, I don't care, basically. Like, I don't have sympathy, I don't care, haha. Maybe you don't go to, like, your fucking Klan rally and you won't get shot. That was basically Destiny's take. I'm paraphrasing, but that was basically his take. And I remember, like, basically the entire right wing on the internet was just like, he was public enemy number one for saying that, like, oh, how could you have no empathy? But anyway, that was the first thing that came to mind. It's definitely not about that, because that was old. And so I guess maybe this is what they were referring to. So he was on Piers Morgan, and listen to what he says here.
Cox has made it clear that their investigation has now established that he had been radicalized by a leftist ideology, which drove him to do this. That's just
I'm sorry, excuse me, when?
Yes.
This is talking about the Charlie Kirk killing, by the way. And we now know that what Piers is saying here is completely and utterly untrue. He's some, like, radical Antifa person or far left person. That's nonsense. There's zero evidence to indicate that. We don't even know if they have the right guy at this point. We don't even know. Like, the evidence and the holes in the story and he's still saying he didn't do it. But anyway, I digress.
No. When was he radicalized? In the 6 months that he did remote college?
I don't know when he was radicalized, but I do know the very reasonable sounding governor of Utah has made it clear that the
you
may not want to hear this.
Ongoing investigation.
You may not want to hear it, Destiny. But the reality is the investigators, according to the governor of Utah, have established that he was radicalized to a leftist ideology that drove him to murder Charlie Kirk. Now, let me just ask you.
That's just not true.
Let me just ask you.
No way to deal with it.
Okay, you're accusing the governor of lying.
Yeah.
That's your prerogative. But
sure.
If it turns out
they do this with every shooting too, and I think that's one of the things that frustrates Destiny. It frustrates me as well. Is, like, remember when the guy rammed into a Mormon church with his pickup truck, lit the church on fire, so committed arson, was asking people, do you believe in Jesus or not? And he started killing people at the Mormon church. And then come to find out, that guy was a Trump supporter, and he was online wearing a shirt. His wife posted a picture of him wearing a shirt that said, make liberals cry again. And then the right photoshopped that and lied and said, no, you guys photoshopped it. And, like, this is what they try to do. They try so hard right off the bat, blame the left, blame the left, blame the left. And then when all that falls apart, they just shut the fuck up and move on quickly, right? And this was during that phase after the Charlie Kirk killing. It was like, quick, let's find a way to blame the left, blame Antifa, blame Indivisible, blame immigrant rights group. I'm not kidding. This is what Trump and Stephen Miller were actually talking about. Trump wanted to legally target all of these standard Democratic groups, literally like George Soros' son, who's just like a liberal donor. They want to try to blame them and target them. This is bullshit. And that's what Destiny is objecting to here, is like, you guys are just making shit up about it's connected to the broader left and it's a left-wing radicalization or whatever. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Somebody with a leftist ideology who wanted to shut up Charlie Kirk, would you condemn that?
Oh, I love that. So in other words, okay, sure, I'll concede that we actually don't know if it's some leftist who did this, but if it was, would you condemn it? see the game that's being played here? Do you see the game? Now, by the way, flip the script. There's been within the past 2 weeks, there's been 3 different attacks from MAGA terrorists. Some of them because of the ideology, some maybe the ideology was incidental to it, but 3 attacks. You have the teen who was a big Charlie Kirk fan and drove into 2 teenage girls and killed them, drove 70 miles an hour in his Jeep and killed them. He was mad that one of the girls made a joke about Charlie Kirk after he died. That was one. We have the liberal judge in South Carolina had her house burned down, and this is somebody who was just targeted by MAGA. And we have, of course, the Mormon church example. 3 MAGA terror attacks in 2 weeks. Has Piers Morgan done this with any right-wingers? Has he invited on Benny Johnson and grilled him and said, will you condemn this MAGA attack? Will you condemn it? No! He doesn't do it. Because the media game is rigged. The media game is rigged. They somehow play up anything they think they could pin on the left and flip out about it. Anything they could pin on, that's the right's problem. Shut the fuck up, move on, don't even talk about it. It's fucking bullshit. It's bullshit, and I'm sick of it, and clearly he's sick of it.
I won't condemn anything until the president of the United States can go on air and say, all of us need to calm down.
So you won't condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk until Donald Trump says something.
I'm a YouTuber. Leftists and Democrats have been condemning and turning down the temperature, condemning violence, turning down the temperature for a decade. Donald Trump can't go on TV and say, all of us need to calm down.
Right.
Can you tell me why he cannot?
Why would you expect anybody, Destiny?
You can't answer that. Can you answer that question? Why can't Trump go on TV and say, all of us should be less violent?
Why do you think?
Trump say that?
Why do you think?
Why is your behavior contingent on Donald Trump?
Insane right now.
Why do you think?
Your
Let me
behavior
ask you a
contingent
question.
on Donald Trump?
Let me ask you a question.
Because he's the president of the United States of America and the leader of the
Destiny. Let me
You
just.
have a huge audience of young men who listen to everything you have to say. So when it doesn't matter. You have a huge audience.
In other words, the reason why Destiny is frustrated is because it always seems like somehow the conversations get warped and flipped where the left has to condemn, the left has to finger wag, the left has to say, that's unacceptable, we condemn it, we're not for it. It was like virtually every Democratic politician and, high-level Democratic political figure condemned the killing of Charlie Kirk in no uncertain terms. And everybody on the right was calling for civil war. Civil war. And somehow the conversation still got flipped into, will you condemn this? And it's like, well, the president of the United States, literally every time one of these things happens, he adds fuel to the fire. He escalates the problem. He increases the tensions. And instead of, reaching out to the leader of the United States, the leader of the right-wing movement in this country, and saying, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. You should be playing the president role here and, hey, we're all Americans. We need to come to... That's what Biden did after they tried to kill Trump. He came out and did that. Trump can't do it. He always makes everything worse. He always adds fuel to the fire. And so what he's saying is, why are you holding me to a higher standard than you hold the president of the United States when I'm an asshole YouTuber? That's the point he's making. And he's 100% right. I guess this is what they were referring to. I don't know. You tell me. Are there other examples of things I missed? But it seems to me like one of the things that Destiny does, and he's done this for a very long time, is he trolls the right. He hates the double standards. He's going to fucking go to war against the double standards, but he also trolls the shit out of the right. And now it seems like they're trying to spin that and make it, he violated fucking some law by what? Saying something spicy, saying something fucking that a lot of people would disagree with. I don't even understand the argument. Like, what is the argument here that there's a crime being committed? There's clearly no crime being committed. But the vice president of the United States of America is focusing on this. The vice president of the United States of America is taking time out of his day to say, hey, these liberal YouTubers need to be taken down a couple pegs and locked up. Now, my understanding is he's got all sorts of other legal problems that he's got to deal with. But you're telling me the vice president of the U.S. is basically trying to punish somebody for their political speech? And this from the same people who 7.5 minutes ago pretended like they were the most pro-free speech in the world? They would cloak themselves in the Constitution and the First Amendment and free speech. Meanwhile, now they got some power. It's like, let's just fucking destroy anybody and everybody who fucking disagrees with us. Well, hey... JD, shouldn't you be focusing on, refunding the pediatric cancer research that Elon Musk cut? Or refunding the Meals on Wheels that you and Trump cut? How about that? How about you go focus on something that actually might improve people's lives? Getting people their Medicaid back, since you cut $800 billion from the Medicaid and fucking made it so that people's healthcare prices are going to skyrocket with the cutting off of the Obamacare subsidies. But no, they're not in this to improve people's lives. They're power-hungry, greedy, selfish, narcissistic little fucking pigs. And so now it's like, we're just going to try to crush all of our enemies. And they view him as one of their top enemies because he's a loud, aggressive liberal on YouTube. And so now they're just going to try to ruin him over this. It's just incredible. It's just incredible. And no, there is no equivalent on the other side on this front. You know, there's just no equivalent on the other side. It's not like, you know, Barack Obama was hell-bent on trying to ruin Sean Hannity's life or whatever the fuck. This is horseshit. It's total horseshit. So, man, that's so crazy. Because, by the way, if they do it to him, they do it to me. They do it to fucking any of us. Take something you say, fucking twist it, mangle it, take it out of context, pretend you're saying something you didn't actually say, and we're off to the races. And we're off to the fucking races. And it's just the liberals and leftists are held to the most insanely high standard, right? And there are literally no standards for people on the right. And that has never been more obvious to me than it is right now. And it's something that's disgusting, and I won't fucking stand for it. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.